What's up everyone, how's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well, and what you're looking at is not a Mac Pro painted white. It's actually an Itx form factor custom PC case designed by BottleNext, which is a startup company based out of the Netherlands, and right now they're actually crowdfunding the development and production of this case known as the Entropy. Now as you can see, the design is very clean and cylindrical. It obviously looks very similar to the current generation Mac Pros, but there are some key differences. One, this is obviously a case that you can put any type of Itx motherboard. You do need an SFX power supply unit, and if you do want to install a graphics card, there is room for a standard ITX format a GPU. We're using the GTX 960 from Gigabyte, but you can even fit an R9 Nano as well as the new GTX 1070. Now in terms of the physical dimensions, this case measures around 297 millimeters in terms of height and about 210 millimeters in terms of diameter. So it's actually really small. It's one of the smallest ITX format cases that I've ever used, and you can see it in comparison to the 13-inch MacBook Air. It looks absolutely tiny. So in terms of having a very compact and powerful system, especially if you don't have a lot of room on your desk, this case could definitely offer something unique that's missing from the whole PC building experience right now. Now, as you would imagine, all of your ports and connections are going to be at the bottom of the case, and you can simply feed all of your wires directly through the bottom of the case. You can even potentially cut a hole under your desk and feed all your wires right through your desk, and then you have like a case that looks very clean with no visible wires inside, which definitely could be appealing for some of you OCD people out there. Now, in terms of thermal dynamics, in principle, this case should extract the heat from the bottom portion of the case to the top portion of the case. And therefore, the single 140 millimeter fan at the top of the case is ideally going to exhaust all of your hot air out. Now, the intake will be around the feet area, and you can raise the feet to get better overall airflow. But generally speaking, I didn't have too much of an issue even with the standard feet of this prototype. And that's one thing to keep in mind, that this case is still pre-production. It's a prototype. There will be obviously changes and upgrades that will be made to the final consumer version. Now, building an Itx system around this PC case is actually relatively easy, nothing really too challenging. Basically, you have the power supply on one side, and then you have the motherboard mounted vertically with the I/O facing the bottom, as we mentioned before. And the GPU will also be installed vertically facing down. With that, you are going to have to use a PCI Express riser cable, which is going to remotely connect your graphics card to the motherboard directly. And overall cable management is actually really simple. There's actually plenty of room to make things look relatively clean inside. Now, in terms of storage configuration, either you can use an M.2 SSD card, which on this ITX Z17 board from Asus is mounted directly at the back of the board, so that's definitely very nicely integrated. Now, the production version of the case will actually have two brackets for 2.5-inch SSDs, which is right above the PSU. But for now, I just mounted my SSD with some double-sided sticky tape directly next to the PSU. Now, you are going to need a fairly low-profile CPU cooler under 40 millimeters. Now, the cooler that you're seeing over here is the Sigmatech low-profile cooler, and this is technically not compatible. It's a little bit above 40 millimeters, and there's not enough clearance between the fan and the GPU to get some proper airflow. What I would recommend is either the Silverstone AR05 or the Noctua NH-L9i. Both coolers are under 38 millimeters, which should give you adequate clearance to get you the best thermal performance. Now, as you can see at the top of the case, we have a lid that reduces the fan noise and also limits the airflow, which is perfectly fine when you're just using the PC for general day-to-day tasks such as web browsing or word processing. But anything high intensity such as video editing or gaming, you probably want to remove that lid altogether and let as much air exhaust out of that fan as possible to give you the best thermal dynamics and best overall performance. Now, in terms of little things such as access to your motherboard and access to USB connections, you can use different extenders to get you remote access to whatever you need. Again, keep in mind that this is still the prototype. The final consumer version will have several improvements that you do not see in this particular version. And if you are interested in the case, definitely check out the Kickstarter for all important details. But definitely let me know what you guys think of the case down in the comment section down below. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and let me know if you have any specific questions. Other than that, thanks again for watching, thanks for your support, and we'll see you later. Take care.